Public Act 1152 Philippine Environmental Code. This act makes provision for the protection of the environment of road themes, and the provision are divided into titles that major part of this dealing with specific aspect of environment protection. Title makes provision with respect to air and noise pollution. Environmental Code enacted on June 6, 1977 in the city of Manila by President Ferdinand A. Marcos. The Philippine National Code is a body of law setting forth management policies and prescribing quality standard for the environment in its totality, provided a comprehensive program, environmental protection and management, Philippine environmental rules, whereas the broad spectrum of environment has become a matter of vital concern for the government. Whereas national leadership has taken a step toward this direction by creating the National Environment Protection Council under the Presidential Decree number 1121. Whereas it is necessary the creation of the council by implemented with the launching of a comprehensive program of environmental protection and governance.
Title 1 makes provisions with respect to air and noise pollution. Title 1 is air quality management. The purpose of this title is to achieve and maintain such levels of air quality as to protect public health and to prevent the greatest extent practicable injury and damage to plants and animals, life and property, and promote the social and economic development of the country. Air quality management have 3 chapters. The chapter 1 tackles about the standards. These are the ambient air quality standards, national emission standards, community noise standards, standards for noise producing equipment and aircraft emission and sonic
Regulation and enforcement. Section 8. Air quality and noise standards. The National Pollution Control Commission, in coordination with appropriate government agencies, shall be responsible for the enforcement of ambient air quality emission and noise standards, including the monitoring and surveillance of air pollutants, licensing and permitting of air pollution control facilities, and the promulgation of appropriate rules and regulation. Existing air quality emission and noise standards may be revised and or modified consistent with new development and technology. Section 9. Aircraft noise. Community noise standards around airports shall be implemented by the Civil Aeronautics Administration in coordination with the National Pollution Control Commission. Section 10. Vehicular emissions. The Land Transportation Commission, in coordination with the National Pollution Control Commission, shall implement emission standards for motor vehicles and may deputize other appropriate law enforcement agencies for the purpose. Section 11. Radioactive emissions. The release and emission of radioactivity into the environment incident to the establishment of possession of nuclear energy facilities and radioactive materials, handling, transport, production, storage, use, and disposal of radioactive materials shall be regulated by the Philippine Atomic Energy Commission, coordination with other appropriate government agencies.
Chapter 3 is all about monitoring. It is the air quality monitoring and weather modification. Title 2. Water Quality Management. The purpose of this title is to prescribe management guidelines aimed to protect and improve the quality of Philippine water resources. The National Pollution Control Commission, in coordination with the appropriate government agencies, shall classify Philippine waters, taking into account the existing quality of the body water at the time of classification, the size, depth, surface area covered, volume, direction, rate of flow, gradient of stream, and the most beneficial use of said bodies of water and lands bordering them for residential, agricultural, commercial, industrial, and navigational, recreational, and aesthetic purposes. The National Pollution Control Commission shall prescribe quality and employment standards consistent with guidelines set by the National Environmental Protection Council, and the classification of waters. Appropriate government agencies shall regulate wastewater discharge in consultation with National Environmental Protection Council. Water quality management have two chapters. The chapter 1 tackles about the classification and standards. These are the classification of Philippine waters and reclassification of water based on intended beneficial upgrading of water quality and water quality standards. Chapter 2 tackles about protection and improvement of water quality. Chapter 2 have enforcement and coordination, clean-up operations, and water quality monitoring.
Title 3, Land Use Management, Section 22, Purpose. The purposes of this title are to provide a rational, orderly, and efficient acquisition, utilization, and disposition of land and its resources in order to derive therefrom maximum benefits, and to encourage the prudent use and conservation of land resources in order to prevent an imbalance between the nation's needs and such resources. Section 23, National Land Use Scheme. The Human Settlements Commission, in coordination with the appropriate agencies of the government, shall formulate and recommend to the National Environmental Protection Council a land use scheme consistent with the purpose of this title. Section 24, Location of Industries. In the location of industries, factories, plants, depots, and similar industrial establishments, the regulating or enforcing agencies of the government shall take into consideration the social, economic, geographic, and significant environmental impact of said establishment. Title 4, Natural Resources Management and Conservation. Section 25, Purposes. The purposes of this title are to provide the basic policy on the management and conservative of the country's natural resources, to obtain the optimum benefits therefore, and to prevent the same of the future generations, and to provide general measures through which the aforesaid policy may be carried out effectively. Chapter 1, Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Section 26, Management Policies. The national government, through the Department of Natural Resources, shall establish a system of rational exploitation of fisheries and aquatic resources within the Philippine territory, and shall encourage citizen participation therein to maintain and or enhance the optimum and continuous productivity of the same. Section 27, Measure of Natural Exploitation. Measure for the natural exploitation of the fisheries and other aquatic resources may include but shall not be limited to the following: undertaking manpower and expertise development, acquiring the necessary facilities and equipment, regulating the marketing of threatened species of fish or other aquatic resources, reviewing all existing rules and regulations on the exploitation of fisheries and aquatic resources with a view of formulating guidelines for the systemic and effective enforcement thereof, and conserving the vanishing species of fish and aquatic resources such as turtles, sea snakes, crocodiles, corals, as well as maintaining the mangrove areas, marshes and inland waters, coral reefs areas, and islands serving as sanctuaries for fish and other aquatic life.
Title 6, Miscellaneous Provisions. Section 52, Population Environment Balance. Section 53, Environmental Education. Section 54, Environmental Research. Section 55, Monitoring and Dissemination of Environmental Information of Foreign Origin. Section 56, Incentives. Section 57, Financial Assistance or Grant. Section 58, Participation of local government units and private individuals. Section 59, Preservation of historic and cultural resources and heritage. Section 60. Government offices performing environmental protection functions and public hearings. Title 7. The final provisions. Separability of provisions and effectivity.